Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I'm Uzma Jafri. Here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Tuesday, the 4th of January. Delhi Chief Minister tests COVID positive after poll rally as India cases jump. Tell people there is no inflation. Opposition lies. Pakistan PM Imran Khan to spokespersons. And the Hill unanimously re-elected as CPN Maoist Centre Chairman for another 5-year term. And now for all the details. Chief of Indian capital New Delhi, Arvind Kejriwal, tested positive for coronavirus on Tuesday. The state chief caught the infection a day after addressing a rally in poll-bound Uttarakhand state. Kejriwal, the most senior elected official in the territory of Delhi, is one of the 37,379 new COVID-19 cases reported in India in the past 24 hours.
Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal said on Tuesday he had tested positive for COVID-19 a day after speaking at an election rally where none of the people on the dais could be seen wearing a mask despite rising infections in the country. The daily caseload was the highest since early September as the Omicron coronavirus variant starts to overtake Delta in places like capital, though authorities say hospitalizations have not spiked yet. Kejriwal, who addressed the rally in poll-bound state of Uttarakhand, said in a Twitter post he had isolated at home with mild symptoms and urged those who came in touch with him in recent days to do similar and be tested for COVID-19.
दिल्ली के मुख्यमंत्री श्री अरविंद केजरीवाल जी पॉजिटिव पाए गए हैं। सिम्टम्स अभी काफ़ी हल्के हैं और वो आइसोलेशन में हैं और उन्होंने अपील की है कि जो लोग उनके कांटेक्ट में आए वो भी आइसोलेशन में जाएं और अपना टेस्ट कराएं।
Delhi will also impose a weekend curfew to try and curb the spread of Omicron variant of the coronavirus as cases have risen in past few days, its Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia told a news conference on Tuesday. He also said most offices would have to make half their employees work from home. Delhi reported more than 4,000 new infections late on Monday, with over 6% of all tests turning positive. Federal government guidance has been for local authorities to impose movement curbs as necessary when the rate breaches 5%.
दिल्ली में सैटरडे और संडे को यानी वीकेंड्स पर अब कर्फ्यू रहेगा, तो लोगों से अपील है कि कर्फ्यू के दौरान बाहर ना निकलें। बहुत ज़रूरी होने पर हॉस्पिटल या कोई बहुत एसेंशियल ज़रूरत पर ही बाहर निकलें, लेकिन सैटरडे संडे को कर्फ्यू का पालन करें, घर में रहें, वर्क फ्रॉम होम करें या परिवार के साथ बैठें।
The country has so far confirmed 1,892 Omicron cases, the most being in Mumbai's home state of Maharashtra, followed by Delhi according to the Federal Home Ministry. The country's death toll rose by 124 to reach a total of 482,017. Total infections stand at 34.96 million.
Severe cold conditions prevail in India's northern states as temperatures dipped further following a fresh snowfall. People in Jammu and Kashmir and Himachal Pradesh woke up to freezing temperatures as icy winds swept the region. The weather office said it expects further snowfall to hit the region.
Fresh snowfall in the Himalayan region on Tuesday led to dipping of temperatures in northern India, which is already struggling with a severe cold wave. Roads, parks and roofs on the houses were seen covered in thick blanket of snow in Jammu and Kashmir's Srinagar city. Locals said snowfall brings reprieve to persons who were suffering from health problems associated with dry winters and also help solve problem of water shortage.
सर ये अच्छी बात है क्योंकि पिछले कुछ दिनों से ड्राई वेदर हो गया था, खांसी जुकाम था, लोग बीमार हो रहे थे और सर इसके पड़ने से सर बहुत थोड़ा रिलीफ मिलेगा, हर इंसान को मिलेगा और दूसरी बात है टूरिस्ट बहुत आएंगे सर और यहाँ की फिजा भी चेंज हो जाएगी सर.
The hilly state of Himachal Pradesh also turned into a winter wonderland with snow blanketing large swathes of the northern state. Streets of Kaza and Narkanda region were covered in sheets of snow with the temperatures falling as low as -6 degrees Celsius. The Indian Meteorological Department said higher reaches of the state including Shimla, Kullu, Laul Spiti, Kinnaur, Sirmaur and some parts of Solan will receive heavy snowfall and other parts of the state will get light snowfall and rain. Snowfall in states like Jammu and Kashmir and Himachal Pradesh has a direct impact on other northern states like Punjab, Haryana, Delhi, and Uttar Pradesh. South Asia's winters are not as cold as other regions such as North America, but the millions of poor are hit harder because they live in the open and do not have enough warm clothes, and some even die.
Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan has asked government spokespersons to inform the masses that there is no inflation in the country and that they must counter the opposition's narrative. This comes as opposition parties have demanded PM Khan's resignation for failing to control the frequent price rise and manage the economic crisis.
Pakistan's Prime Minister Imran Khan on Monday asked the government and the ruling PTI party spokespersons to inform the masses that there is no inflation in the country. We have inherited a ruined economy, the Premier said while chairing a meeting of spokespersons over the economic situation. Tell people there is no inflation, opposition tells lies, Khan asked party officials, local media quoted a Prime Minister as saying. This comes as Pakistan's consumer price index rose 12.3% in December from a year earlier, according to the country's Statistics Bureau. Edible items were the main contributor to the latest increase. Pakistan's cabinet last week also approved a supplementary budget that plans to end exemptions on sales tax and levy new duties. Earlier on Sunday, Maulana Fazlur Rahman, the chief of Pakistan Democratic Movement, announced that the multi-party opposition alliance would hold an anti-government long march towards Islamabad on March 23rd over the issue of inflation. He demanded PM Khan to resign immediately for failing to manage the economic crisis which has overburdened the common public.
Decades of Islamabad misrule in Pakistan-administered Kashmir has left almost every sector in shambles. Suffering the biggest challenge is the education sector. The buildings of a large number of academic institutions that were hit by the 2005 earthquake are yet to rise from the debris. Repeated pleas of the locals have fallen on deaf ears, and they complain that the limited education that students are receiving in their region is crowd-funded.
The education sector in Pakistan-administered Kashmir has been struggling to dig itself out from the debris even after 16 years of the massive 2005 earthquake that tore down the region's infrastructure. Years have passed, but students living in the affected areas continue to suffer. With little to no infrastructure present across the region, students in Pak-administered Kashmir are either forced to attend classes under the open sky or drop out entirely. This has also affected the gross enrollment ratio of the region severely. Kotli resident Mumtaz Zain said he and his community members had themselves constructed a two-room building for students to study. The government, he said, had promised to allocate a budget for reconstruction, which never really reached them.
बच्चियों की प्राइमरी हमारे जो है वो ज़लज़ला में नाव गिर गई थी। उसके बाद जिस वक्त तक गवर्नमेंट ने कोई तवज्जो उस पर तरफ नहीं दी है, वो बिल्कुल यानी कि नाव एक कमरा दो कमरे जो हमने अपनी मदद आपके तहत बनाए हैं।
The 7.6 magnitude earthquake that hit the region along with several parts of Pakistan caused huge damage to the buildings of government schools and hospitals. Though the Earthquake Reconstruction and Rehabilitation Authority collected funds to rebuild schools, there were only a few sites where the real work could begin. The students and teachers at many government schools of the region are still awaiting reconstruction, but so far it appears to be a distant dream. The people of the Pak-administered Kashmir have been at the receiving end of the discriminatory policies of the government that have failed to provide even basic facilities to the people. Observers say the government's impassive attitude in not improving the education sector, especially the dwindling female education domain, reflects how much the people of so-called Azad Kashmir matter to them.
Nepal's former Premier Pushpa Kamal Dahal has been unanimously re-elected as the chairman of the CPN Maoist Centre for the next 5 years. The 67-year-old leader has been leading the party for over 3 decades now, uncontested.
Nepal's former Prime Minister and guerrilla leader during the decade-long insurgency, Pushpa Kamal Dahal, has been re-elected as chairman of CPN Maoist Centre for another consecutive term of 5 years.
The first Central Committee meeting held in Lalitpur on Monday after the completion of the 8th General Convention re-elected Dahal as the executive of the party, a post he has been holding for over 3 decades uncontested. Senior leader Narayan Kaji Shrestha was the proponent and Krishna Bahadur Mehra was the supporter of the proposal to re-elect Prachanda, which became a unanimous decision by the meeting. The 8th General Convention of Maoist Centre began on December 26 and concluded with picking the names of 236 Central Committee members on January 2, but the names of the office bearers are yet to be finalized. Mahara informed that the meeting has been postponed till 9th of January as the party has to do more homework on the issue of office bearers.
Tibetan non-government organizations in India staged a skit to portray China's human rights atrocities and called for an international boycott of this year's Winter Games. Calling it the No Beijing 2022 Global Day of Action, the protesters held the protest to show international solidarity among Chinese human rights defenders, Tibetans, Uyghurs, Hong Kongers, Southern Mongolians and Taiwanese, and show their global opposition to the 2022 Games.
Exiled Tibetans in India's northern hill town of Dharamsala on Tuesday staged a protest against Winter Olympics 2022 scheduled to be held in Beijing over China's human rights record. Tibetan non-government organizations came together to mark 1 month countdown to Winter Games as part of No Beijing 2022 Global Day of Action, where a skit was performed to highlight China's atrocities on Tibet and other regions. Human rights activists have urged governments and athletes worldwide to boycott 2022 Winter Olympics in China, saying that anything less would make the world complicit in what they called a genocide by Beijing.
We urge the international community to make China accountable by boycotting Winter Olympic, and we also request the participants, athletes, to boycott it. If not, then please return the blood-stained medal as a show of resistance.
China's treatment of minorities has come under increased scrutiny in the run-up to the Games scheduled from February 4 to 20th. Rights group and US lawmakers have called on International Olympic Committee to postpone the Games and relocate the event unless China ends what the United States deems ongoing genocide against Uyghurs and other Muslims.
News from Afghanistan. The surreal blue mountain lakes in the central Afghan province of Bamiyan mesmerizes the eyes and brings peace to the soul. However, the sublime landscapes lie deserted sans tourists as Afghanistan stares at its worst economic crisis after the Taliban swept through the country, resulting in the drying up of foreign aid.
The winter landscape around the deep blue mountain lakes of Bande Amir in the central Afghan province of Bamiyan presents an arresting spectacle empty of people. But the absence of visitors is costing locals dearly. After 2 decades of war and now facing its worst economic crisis, the collapse of Afghanistan's vestigial tourism industry might almost go unnoticed. Bande Amir, situated around 3,000 meters above the sea level and a couple of hours' drive from the renowned Buddhist sites of Bamiyan, attracted thousands of visitors a year. But all that changed this year after the Taliban takeover in August, that led to the plunging of the economy into crisis as vital foreign aid dried up.
قبلا خیلی خوب بودن. معمولا زمستان ها برنامه اسکی و بعضی مسابقات برگزار می شدن، توریست ها می آمدن و بهار هم بسیار زیاد می آمدن. در مدتی که طالبان آمده 4.5 ماه بیشتر میشه هیچ توریستی رو تا هنوز ما در بنده امیر ندیدیم.
The families living in Bande Amir village depend entirely on tourism and were already suffering from the slowdown in visitors caused by the pandemic. The economic crisis that followed the Taliban victory has done the rest. Bamiyan province was one of the rare places that remained sheltered from the conflict that ripped much of Afghanistan apart over the past 20 years and developed a relatively liberal culture in which mountain sports played a significant role.
Well, that's all we have for you from South Asia this evening. Now our viewers can watch the show on southasianewsline.com. You can also visit us on facebook.com/SAsiaNewsline and follow us on Twitter @SAsiaNewsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We will see you same time tomorrow. Good night.